Yes, sir. So we will come to a conclusion. We cannot say it is because of lack of faith that Abraham did not tell to his wife. Because he had faith on God, that faith on God was bigger when it considered to this hiding from his own wife. And that's why maybe he did not tell, probably. Yes, sir, you have something to say. Yes, sir. Maybe both of your wives are not here. You are mentioning about the women are weaker vessel. And I would say, not all wives, not all women. There are women who are of strength to their husbands. There are women who have been great instrument of God making their husbands prosper. Definitely. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. There's no doubt about it. It's written in the Bible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If I tell this to my wife, she'll fight with me. We'll continue. From the power of the grave. Maybe before that, we would read Job chapter 19, verse 25 to 26, 27. Can someone read? As Sir mentioned about Job, we will quickly take a glance at what Job has to say regarding this mystery. All right. In these few verses, we read about how Job is speaking very positively about what he is undergoing. Now, as we analyze this verse, let's just analyze what were some of the difficulties that Job was undergoing during that time. And in spite of that, he makes this very positive statement about God, very hopeful statement about God. Can you mention few struggles that Job really underwent that we are not undergoing? And definitely it is considered to be one of the greatest challenge to be faced, because we always refer to Job. Can you mention few struggles? Okay, he lost all his children in one day. Okay, anybody else? He lost his property, correct? Animals, okay, cattles. Okay, he falls sick. Somebody else told something. His servants he lost, okay. Wealth he lost, yes, possessions. Okay, yeah, it's a big traumatic experience for Job. Let's put things in order. First, to begin with, he was appreciated and lauded by God himself to Satan. And in this kind of situation, Satan takes advantage of that situation. Ask, what if we remove the hedge from him? And God himself gives a little permission for Satan to tempt him. And what was the first thing to happen? What was the first thing to happen? He lost his children, he lost his possession, wealth, money, servants, and later he himself suffers from a very strange disease for which during that time no medicine. He is struggling, probably something like cancer, skin cancer, something he might have got. Maybe during those days they didn't have such names, and something that is really painful, hurting. And in order to add oil to the fire, his wife comes and tells him a statement. Sometimes statements made by your spouses are very piercing, and that will cut our throat, like pierce our hearts. Something like that happens to him. And yeah. So what happens? No, no, no. That's why I mentioned spouse. That's why I mentioned spouse and not wife. So I was very careful. So okay, okay, yeah, yes. So he lost all his possessions, his children, which is more precious than wealth, his servants, and his own health is at risk, ruins, and maybe he's sitting on the dust, and he has removed his royal garments and he is wearing sackcloth. He's seated there and he takes some tiles and scratches his sores. And while he is suffering this way, his wife comes and tell him, "Why are you still upright? You curse your God and you die. It's better," she says. And I personally felt this statement was more hurting than the wound, than losing his children, and than losing his property. Sometimes the mental agony is more painful than the physical pain, It happens to most of us. All of you will agree with me. For him, giving up his faith in God was something like that. That's right, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing that point. Sometimes we do that to our God. He has trusted us like our close friends, and we betray him and deny him in sometimes in our lives. Okay, let's come. Our own and fellow members. Correct, sir. Sisters. That's what exactly happens to even Job. His friends see he's already struggling. His wife has given him up, telling him to die. It's better for you to die than holding on to this faith. And then his friends comes and tells, "You fellow has committed something wrong against God." And that's why all these things are happening. Yes, ma'am. That's not the end. So what I mean to say, he has undergone a lot of losses, lot of painful traumatic experiences, but in spite of this situation, yes, he did not utter a single word against God. Rather, he cursed this birth date and he said that it is better for me not to be born into this world. But he never cursed God, he never uttered anything against God. Yes. That's right, sir. Thank you for making that point. When we trust in God, no matter what we lose, even everything that we have goes away from us, He will be there for us. And in fact, He makes this statement by expressing His faith. What did He say? Let us read that verse 19 and let us read um, verse 25, 26. Can someone read? He says in these two verses, you are right, sir. In these two verses, he says that though I die, yeah, yet will I see with my own eyes my Redeemer when he stands up on the earth. This he talks about when Lord shall come the second time. Even if I die, he will rise me back to see him again, face to face. That's the hope he expresses. And another place in Job chapter 13 and verse 15. Can someone read? Job chapter 13 and verse 15. This is my favorite verse. See, even if God is going to slay me, I will still trust in him. Whether I lose my position, whether I lose my power, whether I lose my wealth, whether I lose my honor, I will still trust in God, because he is hopeful and he will definitely give it back to me, everything what I want. That's what Job is talking about. And maybe the same message is told in the New Testament by Martha. If you remember, when her brother was in the grave, when Jesus came, what statement she makes? I know, Lord, in the day of resurrection he will definitely rise. But what was the response of Jesus? I am the life and the resurrection. I am here. I am the one who is going to raise the dead back to life. And if I think even right now I can bring your brother back to life, that's what he meant. We have such a God whom we serve. Let's go to another chapter which is more fascinating. Psalms chapter 49. Psalms chapter 49. First, let's read verse 6. Can someone tell me? Read for me. Sam. What does he say? Here, this whole chapter, the psalmist is talking about wicked men, people who rely on their riches, people who rely on their wealth, people who rely on their power, position, and honor. And he talks in verse 6, there are people